Hi, welcome to this session on how to write good objectives. We are aware about what is OKR, what is objective in terms of definition, criteria, characteristics, all those things. Now, this session is going to really help you to understand how we can write an objective more effectively and efficiently so that it can help you to succeed towards your vision much better way. So let's go into the details on how we can build the good objectives. An ideation phase. See, as like every phase, an ideation phase is also a phase which is a starting point of every process. In this ideation process, we need to ideate or we need to prepare our mind before we start writing an objective, that what are we going to bring into the objective statement, right? So this ideation phases really help us to establish that. First of all, we need to have a good functional understanding on what we needs to be in terms of sustainability. For example, I am heading a department, for example, quality or manufacturing or finance or HR. I should have a good functional understanding about my functional process, functional intent or functional objective, why this function exists, what are this function is trying to accomplish, or what this function is going to contribute to the organization's operational performance or growth, whatever it may be. So it's very important to have that an understanding as a first step. Okay. So what are the aspects that we need to have a clarity in the sense of sustainability? What we need to sustain in a function. Okay, so let me give an example. I'm heading in HR. I should be having a clarity in terms of what are the aspects that I have today, which I am performing in terms of in my function. I should sustain it for a long term or continue to sustain forever as long as this function exists. Right? So we need to have a clarity of what are the things that I need to sustain or maintain it. That means we are doing something good as of now in terms of function. So which we need to ensure we continue to do that and maintain it. That's called sustainability. Right? So we need to have those factors. What am I going to sustain it? Having said that, we also need to have an understanding on what are the things that I need to fix it, right? So I am running an organization or I am running a function, I am heading a function. There are a lot of things which may not be good enough, right? So good may not be good at it as of today. That's fine, right? So we need to find out what are the things that needs to be fixed or need to be addressed, okay, immediately, okay. So we need to have a clarity on it from the functional perspective. We don't need to think about what others are supposed to do, what the organization has to do. That's all been done. So in this stage, when we write an objective statement for our own function, for myself, whatever it may be, so we need to have a clarity on what needs to be fixed and addressed from the functional point of view. At the same time, what are the things we are lacking today? What needs to be improved? Okay, so what needs to be created? Something doesn't exist today. We need to bring that, we need to establish that, we need to create that, we need to have that as part of our functional qualities, our functional skill set, functional competencies, functional infrastructure, whatever it may be. So we need to have that clarity that what I am going to create it, which I think that it is important, which is lagging today. Right? Finally, why this matters right now? This is very important, because anything that we do in OKRs are the things which are important to us today or which is very important to the organization as of now. What matters most gets prioritized in the OKRs, right? Because we have a number of priorities in front of us, right? We may be having 100 things. We cannot do all the 100 things, and we do not know each and every aspect of those things, how it can contribute to the organization's success, right? So we need to pick and choose, prioritize what matters more, what delivers 80% of the success to the organization, what delivers 80% of the results to the organization. So we need to fix that. We need to understand that. So unless otherwise we have a clarity on it, whatever we identify in the previous steps, what are the things we need to sustain, what needs to be addressed or improved, or what needs to be created. If all these things are there, but still if those things doesn't matter to the organization at this point of time or a particular period of time, no use at all. So we need to have a clear cut understanding whatever we have in mind or we thought about it, does that matters right now? Which is basically, again, I'm giving a clarity here. Whatever I put down in my list that I feel which I need to do it, at the end of the day, if I ask this question, if I do all these things, will this take me to the next level, take my function to the next level, which in turn take the organization to the next level? If you are getting an answer no, then that doesn't matter at this point. It can go to the back seat. Something else can come into the front, right? Which means some other priorities should be taken up right now than these things, right? This is very, very important. This gives our mind, this prepares our mind that what exactly we are going to transform in terms of a statement. This is the complete thought process. When this process is not done properly, the next step is you are just going to convert that whatever you thought into a statement form. So if this process is not done effectively, your objective is not going to come effectively. It may fulfill the objective statement requirements, but it doesn't take you anywhere, right? So this is very, very important process. Now let's see step-by-step approach how I can establish a good objective. What problems or changes do we need to solve and why? Again, whatever we saw in the previous slide, which is basically triggering our thought process. Here we are just going into the little bit deeper that, okay, as a functional leader or functional director, what problems or challenges I have as of today, which I need to take care, which I need to address it, right? And you should have a clear why. Why defines the fourth point that we saw in the previous slide. Is this matters most as of now? You get an answer, you can validate that with this clear why. So we need to have why we are doing right, each and everything. The next thing is, what is stopping us? If we are not able to do something, if we are not able to grow something, if we are not able to improve our results, we need to have a clarity that what is that something which is stopping us not to improve our results, not to improve our performance, not to move our ladder up, right? So we need to have that factors. What are the things that is stopping us and what exactly we need to do? So we need to have clarity on that. What could be changed? Okay, what are the things can be changed the way we are doing today? What we can change it in a way that we can do the things better, right? In order to have better results, right? So what can be done better? We are doing something today. Can we do the same thing in a better way for a better results? So have that thought process. And when you have a lot of things in front of you, when you follow the thought process, you cannot do everything in one time, right? So you need to eat bite by bite, right? So we need to understand and identify. I am in Q1, quarter 1. So I know what are the things I need to do from my thought process. But what I can do for this quarter, for the first next 3 months, let me focus on first 3 months. As I moving closer, because we don't want to see Delhi sitting in Kanyakumari, right? As we moving closer to one after another state, we could able to see the visibility of the next, right? So we don't need to see the entire thing right at the beginning. So we need to see what can be done in this first 3 months. The moment when I accomplish that, when we reach the end of the first quarter, then I will see what can be done for the quarter 2, right? So the important thing is, if I have a clarity in mind what needs to be done, the last step is what I can do in the next 3 months, what portion I can able to establish in this 3 months. So have a clarity on that, right? Now have a clear idea. Now I have a clarity, I have a clear thought process, having understood the requirements, what needs to be sustained, what needs to be fixed, addressed, what needs to be created or improved, and all these things are matters most right now or not. If I have everything in my mind, now I am going to start writing. I'm just going to convert whatever in my mind into a piece of paper, or I'm going to publicize to everyone, right? Whatever in my mind, I'm going to publicize to larger audience, because the beauty of the OKR is transparency. So what exactly I'm going to do? I'm going to communicate it to my entire team, entire group, entire organization whom I'm working with, right? So this is exactly the stage called formulation, the formulation of an objective statement, right? Okay. This is going to be an interesting slide, and this is going to be an end result of this session, okay? When you formulate an objective statement, please keep in mind, think about, we always start with any of these verbs that we given on the side, right? These are all the very key words, right, which can excite, okay, which can inspire people who read. Those are the characteristics of an objective, right? Improve, expand, gain, grow, develop, establish, become, realize. So any objective statement, this is not the only list, these are all the very few words which are widely used. The objective statements can start with any of these. Become #1 market leader in global market. What does that mean? So this is an example of an objective statement. Okay, is it good or bad? Let's see whether it is good or bad. Okay, how can we validate this? When you start writing an objective, when you put down your thought process into a statement of an objective, you can validate the way this slide is going to give you an inputs, right? When we see on one side, an objective statement can start with any of these words. On right hand side, you can see all these things, that these are all the characteristics which any objective must comply or fulfill. Any objective statement should or must fulfill these aspects, right? Exciting. Is this the objective is exciting? When I read this statement, is it excites? Does that excite anyone? Become comes from the words on the left hand side. Here in this statement, if you see the #1 market leader, doesn't excite. if someone is reading, is it exciting or not? Definitely it will excite a person, right? Because the statement says, we want to be a number one. I want to become a number one hero. I want to become a number one employee. I want to become the number one student in my school or college, right? So it excites. The moment when you read itself, it creates some kind of vibes within you, right? So it should excite. Is it inspiring? Of course. It gives an inspiration because I'm in number 10 or number 20 or I don't have any number at all. I'm not qualified within that. So I'm going to get into this number buckets. So it's going to be inspiring. It will inspire anybody. Ambitious. Yes, the statement gives an ambitious feel anybody reads, right? Because in the global market, I want to be a number one. Now I'm operating everywhere globally, but I'm not the leader even in the place that I'm operating it locally. But if I need to be a market leader across the globe, it's a big ambitious, right? So it gives an ambition, right? Same way, is it aspiring? Of course, right? There is an aspirational attached to it, no doubt. I don't need to explain here, right? Can we create an action list from this objective so that we can accomplish this objective? Yes. You can break this objective into a micro level objective, and that will help you to build large number of activity list or task list, right? So any statement, objective statement, if you cannot derive an action out of it, that's not an objective, because you cannot do anything about it. If you can't do anything about it, then you may not be able to accomplish the objective, right? So the beauty of the right good objective statement is it should be an actionable statement, right? Direction. It should give a clear direction, right? The objective should set a clear direction on where we are going. It should provide a clarity on, okay, yes, we are going in this direction. We are trying to get this. We are trying to get this done, right? So it gives a direction. So here, it gives clear idea, understanding on this objective statement is really a good objective statement, right? Now, let's see the next one. Expand our brand awareness and brand credibility, right? In this statement, if you see the brand awareness and brand credibility, it gives an exciting, inspirational aspect of it, right? Of course, it gives excitement when we read this statement. It inspires. It gives an ambitious feel. Aspiration. Of course, it gives an aspiration into it. It is actionable. You can action it out of that. It gives a direction. No metrics. No metrics again. Of course, if you see the statement one, the number one is not a metric, right? So it's an aspirational feel. We cannot say that as a metric. Okay, just have an understanding. That is the only exception allowed in the objective statement. Other than that, there are no metrics allowed to be part of the subjective statement. Right? So this also confirms a good objective. Kickstart 3 portal launch programs. We could see in the business planning sessions, we could see when we get the business plans, OKRs from various people, we could see a lot of this kind of statements in the objectives, claiming that this is an objective. Is it an objective compared to the first 1 and 2? Let's see. Is this statement exciting? Yes, of course, because it says kickstart 3 portal launch program, 3 programs we need to launch. So it excites. Anybody needs, yeah. But what inspiration it's done? It's just okay, just launch it. Yeah. What are we trying to get out of that? What are we going to get as a value out of it? What are we going to gain out of this? Just a launch doesn't give any value, right? What is going to yield the results? What is the ultimate endpoint? Why do we do this? Right? So it's nothing there. So it's not. It will not inspire anyone. There is no ambition. What is that? Just launch it, right? So what is the ambitions? Is it an actionable? Yes, of course we can create, because I need to launch 3 programs. Okay. So I can put an action list. Okay, program 1, launch like this. To launch, get prepared this, prepare this, test it, this thing, and then get ready for launch. And I can prepare a list, right? Action list, it's possible. Yes. Direction. It provides a direction, no doubt. It contains metric. It shouldn't contain any metric, right? So this objective is not a good objective, right? On what grounds? We could see on the right hand side, because it doesn't qualify all of the characteristics. We must have all these characteristics qualified for a good objective look like, right? Now let's see another example. Revalidate our current employee onboarding process. This is one statement, comes from a HR kind of a group. Let's see, is this a good objective or not? Is it excites? What is there in this to excite? Just revalidate our current employee onboarding process, right? Is it inspire? Does this inspire anyone who reads this statement as an objective? No, I don't think so. Is it an ambitious goal that we are trying? Just compare the 1 and 2 statements which is appearing in front of you. Is it an aspirational thing? No aspiration in this, right? You're just validating your existing process simply. You don't know why are we doing, what it can yield the results, what it can take you to, where you can move in the ladder by doing this, nothing. Right? Actionable? Yes, of course, you can create an action from this, no doubt. Because of that, we cannot say this is a good step, good objective. As it provides direction? No, definitely. There is no direction in it. It says, okay, just revalidate your current process. Take out your existing process, take out the existing document, just validate it. Or go through your current process. That's it. No metrics? Yes. There are no metrics attached to it. So it qualifies. So finally, this is not a good objective. Hope you all agree why we say an objective is good, on what grounds we are saying it is good. When we say certain objectives are not good, not right, why it is not right? right? So this is very, very important for everyone, just to keep in mind that when we write an objective, when we transform what we thought in our mind, we might have thought appropriately, but when we put it into a statement form, because that is going to convey to across the organization, right? So that is going to cascade or transform to all the people that we want to communicate, right? If we don't transform our mind in a proper way, that doesn't excite, motivate, or set a right direction for rest of the people, right? So that is why it is not only the success of the building good objective is not just you have done the ideation process very well, or you followed the step-by-step process. It doesn't stop with that. It doesn't guarantee. Whereas the success of the effective good objective depends on how well you thought, how well you followed the step-by-step approach, how well you transformed that into a written form, right? How well you transformed or transferred that your vision, okay, or your intention to the rest of the people across the organization, or rest of your groups, or rest of your peers, or rest of your team members, right? So that provides the clear, successful statement of an objective. So this is very, very important for everyone to keep in mind when you start writing. It's a not, when you start practicing this ideation step by step and formulation, it comes automatically. Nobody writes the objective statement perfectly right at the beginning, right? But when you keep all these things in mind, with that, when you start practicing your objective statements, what happens? Over a period of time, you write an amazing objective which can excite your people, inspire your people. It provides an aspirational, ambitious feel which can set a right direction. And you can lay out the good action plan out of it. A good action plan is a guarantee, 50% guarantee for your success, right? So you can lay out the clear action plan, right, towards the directions. So with that, we come to an end of this session. Thank you and all the best for building your amazing objective. Thank you.